Internal Assessment Research Final PowerPoint by Paul Mazaringer, The Effects of the Harvard Psychological Study on Unabomber Ideology. To begin, my original research question was, to what extent did Ted Kaczynski's participation in a Harvard psychological study influence his later ideology and actions as the Unabomber? So this was like a pretty good research question for like gathering my sources, but I really wanted a research question with two clear sides and perspectives, so it would be easier to argue one in my part B. So my final research question is, was Ted Kaczynski's experience in a Harvard psychological study a key factor in his radicalization and his later actions as a Unabomber, or were his actions more influenced by his own ideological beliefs and personal background? My first perspective is that the Harvard psychological study acted as a catalyst in the Unabomber's radicalization, and my main source is called Harvard and the Making of the Unabomber, and it's written by Alston Chase, who is a philosopher and an ex-Harvard professor, and it was published to the Atlantic Monthly, which is a magazine. This source really focuses on that the psychological harm from the experiments in Harvard left Kaczynski traumatized, and that later led to his radicalization. And like the main things that I took from the OPCVL is that this source does lack like hard evidence, and that they focus a lot on like conspiracy theories and sensationalization, and this is a secondary source and it's not a primary source. Moving on, my second perspective is that Kaczynski's ideology was formed on his own beliefs, and my main source is Industrial Society and Its Future, which is the Unabomber's manifesto, and he mainly focuses on how industrialization and technology is ruining society, and he attempts to spread the radicalized belief. Regarding the OPCVL, this is a primary source, but it is biased and the narrator is not reliable. Really, he's just trying to justify his bombings and promote the anti-industrial philosophy. Throughout the whole entire manifesto, like, it's evident that he has a very manipulative tone and he's morally compromised, and he completely ignores the psychological context, and this is not an explanation for his behavior. Now, for my two tools for analysis, I'm going to have perspective and significance. And perspective is really going to be me comparing the two sides of whether Kaczynski was shaped by external psychological trauma or if he acted on his internal beliefs. And they both frame Kaczynski differently, one as the victim and one as creator of the ideals. And my second tools for analysis, which is significant, is going to be more prone in super analysis, as I'm comparing the potential effects of both perspectives and which one mattered more. Finally, my reflection, I have two clear perspectives, and each perspective I have backed up by at least two authors. For balance of evidence, my ideological side is most definitely stronger, as I have a primary source, and this goes into gaps in improvement. I definitely lack academic sources on my psychological side, and it needs like more scholarly depth. So to improve, I want to get some hard evidence on that side, and maybe a peer-reviewed article or a biographical timeline. Continuing my reflection, I think my question is fairly appropriate, as I have a clear two-sided structure focusing on if his ideology was caused by this or that. My question is definitely a little bit lengthy, but if I need to make it more concise in the future, I can. Finally, for my concerns moving forward, my psychological side, which is my first perspective, does seem a bit undersupportive, as it is an unpopular opinion. And adding on to that, that side is very sensationalized, and I want to stay objective when writing my part B. I want to focus on the truth and real evidence and avoid my analysis being surrounded around conspiracy theories. Thank you.